Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, our Let's Play series playing the new DLC, Whiskey and Lemons. Today's video is going to be the last in the series for a couple of days. Tomorrow we're going to be posting a new podcast episode for Single Malt Strategy, and Tuesday we will probably return to our next episode of Suzerain, although it's possible I might flip that and do Grand Tactician on Tuesday and then Suzerain on Wednesday. I'm not sure. Either way, this is our episode number 6 in this series, I believe it is, and we are playing as Matthew McCormick, a regimental commander at the moment in command of the 2nd Wisconsin. We have fought numerous battles, and our force is down under 250 men. We haven't upgraded to much better weapons, which is nice, but the number of troops we have means that as a regiment we're getting... I mean, I wouldn't say it's totally useless. By 63, a 250-man regiment was not that small. The Confederates had some ridiculously small regiments in place at Antietam in the 70s numbers. I think the 20th Maine at Gettysburg was in the 350s or somewhere around there. 300 to 400 was the more typical size of a veteran regiment, maybe in the low 400s, but usually somewhere between like 250 and 350, somewhere in that range. At least my memory is that that's a pretty typical size experienced unit. Our troops are not technically experienced yet, though, and at this point, most of the enemy regiments are much larger, so I think we need to send our troops home for a refit. Before we do that, though, you can see we're still a lieutenant colonel. We fought in like 5 or 6 battles already. We're 54% of the way to the rank of colonel, which we could purchase. We could use our prestige to influence our promotion to full colonel, which would then not immediately make us a brigadier in the sense that we wouldn't necessarily command a brigade right off the bat, but we could, in theory, command a brigade. I'm not looking to do that quite yet because if I was to do this, I'd have no prestige left to actually get myself a brigade command, and colonels can still command regiments, so I'd be a little worried that we'd end up like Colonel Daniel Cameron here, who's commanding the 13th New York Regiment, and I'd be a little worried that we'd end up, we'd be a colonel, but I'd have no additional benefit for being a colonel. I don't know if there's any other perks that come with being a colonel. Maybe our fame would go up a little bit. I'm not sure, but the brigade commander is a colonel too. So like in theory, I could use my my rank to get promoted to a brigade commander, but I'd only have 20 prestige or 10 prestige left to do that. I'd rather bank the prestige a little bit more, and who knows, maybe that expense will drop as we get closer to sort of natural promotion, if you will. That being said, the regiment is not in good shape. We have 209 men, 77 are disabled, so in theory, when everybody's back, if everybody's ever back, because there's always going to be some sick and wounded, but if everybody were back, we'd have 286 effectives. Can I do math right? Yeah, sounds about right. Which is not, again, not super atypical. A lot of these regiments here, 300s, 200s. There are definitely smaller regiments. There are larger regiments too, but it's on the smaller end. I'm not sure I'm seeing anyone who has less than me. There's a few that are, whoops, do not do that. There's a few that have similar numbers as me. Looks like Lieutenant Silas Casey has fewer. You will be appointed commander of this unit. Be aware of resentment of its former commander. Yeah, of course. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and see if we can send these troops home. So reinforced by volunteers and draftees. Click to allow reinforcements by volunteers. Only for the stated unit and all subordinates. Yep, that's clicked, so that's selected. Oh, I can choose either reinforced volunteers only, draftees only, or volunteers. Yeah, so we're going to do either or. That stays as is. But we're going to go ahead and replenish units. Send this unit to a furlough in its home state to recuperate and recruit. This was not a typical thing. Regiments did not get pulled out of the front lines in the Civil War to go home and recruit. The Wisconsin regiments and a couple other states, I believe, actually had some representatives who were back home in their states. And so they would recruit and they would get replacements sent their way. And so that was always something that was sort of a desirable regiment to have, if my memory serves right, because unlike a lot of Eastern regiments, they actually could draw some reinforcements. But the bulk of the attention in all states was always toward new regiments. Raising more regiments was sort of a prestige thing. You could say, we sent 90 regiments to the front. And so that was certainly something that that could happen. Officers would sometimes leave the Wisconsin regiments and other regiments also to recruit for them and use their fame. But again, sending the whole regiment home to furlough, not something that I don't even know if that ever happened. I think it might have happened in a few cases when like enlistment contracts were coming up as sort of a carrot to get folks to re-enlist. But the Army was always worried like they wouldn't return. And so that was something to be aware of. But the game gives you that option, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and send these guys on furlough. Currently replenishing. This unit was sent home to recuperate and recruit. The unit is not available for battles and receives reinforcements faster. ETA 62 days. So we're going to have to wait 2 months. It is November of 1861, so it shouldn't be prime campaigning season. Also, frankly, this gets me out of a very dangerous situation because when we look in the battlefield here, the Union has taken Richmond, just as the Confederacy had taken Washington, D.C. briefly previously. But we've taken Richmond. Our force is up here, but the enemy is sort of slid in behind us with well more troops than what we have in the 1st and 2nd divisions combined. And so the formation that we were part of was stuck in a couple of battles around Fredericksburg where we kept losing. And there is no real good supply line between Richmond and Fredericksburg. It's almost like these troops have been pocketed inside this area. It looks like we are trying to construct a depot. I don't know where the 4th is going to draw its supplies from. Fredericksburg is in Confederate hands. This river area is in Confederate hands. To the west, it looks like Charlottesville and up the valley appears to be in Confederate hands for at least a ways. There are some troops up near Manassas Junction, so maybe there'd be a way to track a supply line, but it is not a good situation. We could bring supplies in off the water, but the rebels actually do have some naval flotillas on the rivers here. And I don't know that we have a clear line between us and Fortress Monroe. So, I mean, everybody in here is considered out of supply, and all these guys are kind of starving, if you will. We'll see what happens over time to the division that we're notionally a part of. But we've got 2 months, so this may be a quiet turn. We'll see. We're going to go ahead and accelerate time at max speed at fit times 50 because, again, my regiment is at home and is not doing anything. I don't know if maybe I'll get promoted too. Maybe the fact that we're at home and we're recruiting, maybe I'll be able to use some political connections at home to push for my promotion to colonel. I think also how long you're at a certain rank does have some influence in terms of your promotion too. It seems like there's like as time passes, your percentage very gradually goes up. I don't actually know if it's based at all on combat performance because you can see it's gone up to 56% now as well. So like I don't really know how that works. Not 100% sure. We're still holding Richmond. We've still got this pocket of troops. The Rebs don't seem to be closing in on us. Again, it is December. Morris's division's fleeing in panic. So we've seen 2 defeats at the Ohio River. Not sure what the Rebs are doing in the Northwest. Are there really all these, like, what are the Rebs doing here? They're pushing troops like... This is like right on the Ohio River here. So I don't know if there's like a attempt to cross into... This would be Ohio, right? I don't know if there's an attempt for the Rebs to push into Ohio or like what good that would do. But there appear to be a considerable number of rebel units in and around here. And there's a 20,000 man army of occupation that is on the southern front. And then there's an additional force or divisions up in the northern front. Seems like, again, they keep pushing up and then down and then they get defeated and they get pushed back. And now these troops appear to be withdrawing. So, at least based on these arrows here, the enemy is shifting where its troops are located. Really weird to have so much action in and around the Ohio. Good thing you let the conforming staffer do his teachings, so you did not have to do it yourself. He really knows his trade, and the staff work and quality is already much better than before. Okay, so I don't know how much that matters, but our staffer did complete his assignment, if you will. Let's go back to our character. It is December 19th now. My administration is way better. It went up another half star. So we are up to almost a 5-star administrator. So that makes us a skilled administrator. Influence of senior officers is reduced. The officers and his staff are well organized and the logistics are handled professionally. Hell yeah. Send me to a staff. They're probably that'd be funny if you could be a staff officer for like an army. Because like I've never seen a 5-star anything. Maybe fame occasionally. Okay. So does that influence my prestige at all? It doesn't look like it. If we go to our headquarters, I don't know that having a... It doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. I don't have any, like, better choices for my staff. Did conclude the management option, so that does mean we can only do one card per at this rank. So we've already done one card in management, influence, wealth, and education. We could choose to play a card in personality or maneuvers. What is our weight now? Like, we're probably out of action for another month or so, so possibly it wouldn't be a bad idea. We are gaining some weight. It looks like plus 4.4 for camp life, the fact that we're not campaigning, and then also plus 0.1 for food and provisions. So we could cut down on our food budget a little bit. We only have $702 left. We've lost a couple of horses under us in battle. Looks like -1 for provisions, plus 4 for regular salary. I don't see any other expenses. So we should be turning a slight profit, but our health is at 100% too, right? So if we were to reduce our provisions slightly from improved to army provisions, which is a skull and like a skull of a fish, the weight would still be going up. We're going to gain weight no matter what because we're in camp. Our health still, again, like, because we're not campaigning, I guess that's fine. So I guess we'll starve ourselves. Are we getting any closer to being promoted? 59%. So yeah, we are getting slightly closer to getting promoted. What card do we want to play? Fat camp, we could lose some weight. We'd lose 40 pounds, but that would make us like 130. That seems a little skinny. Decrease my chance for with reassurance. I could use 250 prestige to do that. Also, it does look like as our percentage goes up, the cost to get promoted drops because it's down to 518 now. No, I don't really like any of these options, and it doesn't look like I have a maneuver option as far as I can see here. Money options, grand review, which is probably influence, political rally, fame and fortune, logistics core. But like nothing, the only things we have options for are fat camp, reassurance, and maybe reconcile. That might not be a terrible idea, although it costs 250 prestige. But we have really pissed off a couple of individuals who we've taken over their regiments in previous battles for. So maybe that's not a terrible idea, but where's the 1st Division anyway? We're still up here at Hanover Courthouse, or did we move? I don't know why I'm moving to my character at the 1st Division, because we're not actually with the 1st Division. But if we take a look here, we've taken over the New York State Militia twice. The 1st New York State Militia. Or that's New Jersey. Where's New York State? New Jersey. It was New York State, right? Well, I don't know where they went. Unless they were disbanded. Does it tell me anything? 43 days away. Oh, wow. We are gaining a lot of new troops. You can see here we've got 462 men now. So we've doubled the size of our force. I don't know if I can stop replenishment. Like midway through. But let's get a few more men at least before we even try and do that. Yeah, they're all New Jersey. Interesting. I don't know if the other guys got reassigned or if they were in a different division. But in any event, I know we have at least one guy who hates us. Maybe they're in the 2nd Division. Oh, this is just the army. So that's the whole army anyway. Okay. Well, in any event, I'm sure we'll run into him again someday. It might be because, like, the officer's name is showing up here instead. But that's enough rambling. Let's go ahead and see if we can't move forward a little bit more and get closer to the division returning. Or the regiment. It's still winter, so It does look like we built that depot over here. So some of the troops are at least the 4th Division here, which is right in on this depot, is doing much better supply-wise. The 2nd and the 1st are still up here having a Valley Forge moment where they're not in supply at all. And the boys in Richmond, likewise, they're not so hot. It does say their readiness is excellent, so that's interesting. Actually, their supplies are really good too. I don't get the... Or they're getting the skull and crossbones icon here. But it looks like everybody more or less is just hunkering down for the winter. At least here. I don't know what the Rebs might be doing elsewhere. It does look like there's a lot of troops moving in Virginia. Perhaps they may launch an invasion through Cumberland and toward DC. But we've held Richmond all winter long now. And while the Rebs they did take Washington, D.C., we took Richmond. It doesn't look like the war weariness or anything like that. If we go up here to the strategy, morale of the army is 60 for us, 64 for them, 89 national support for us, 81 for them, 86 national morale for us, 73 for them. So they are lower, despite the fact that they've actually won one more battle. But I'm assuming that's because we hold Richmond, but we don't have enough. We don't hold enough of the other key locations like the Shenandoah Valley, or a couple other places like West Virginia. We don't hold enough other places for them to be like, all right, we'll cry uncle. We've had enough. Meanwhile, we're into the new year. It's January of 62. We are moving toward campaigning season. Looks like actually some folks might be fighting down here south of Richmond. So we've got the Army of the Peninsula with 4,900 men fighting against the Department of Washington with 4,200 men south of Richmond, by the looks of it, even though it's snowing. Oh, there's also Jones's Corps, 5,500 men. So there's a battle going on down here. I don't know if I can see what the likely results are. I mean, if we can pull reinforcements from across the river, maybe we'd be okay. Meanwhile, if we go to our division, which is still the 1st, these guys are still very low on ammo, although their provisions have gotten better. 2nd Wisconsin still is away on leave. We'll be back in 14 days with over 600 troops. Granted, some of them are disabled, but we've got over 600 troops. We'll be back in 2 weeks, which will be early February. Should be just in time for campaigning season. Disaster at the James River. So that's south of Richmond. So those troops were defeated and driven back. This front line makes no sense to me, but we'll see what happens when the weather starts to get better. Also, maybe we want to get ourselves promoted. We're up to 67% of the way, and it's down to 414 prestige to get promoted. That would leave me 100 and something left, 180 or so. I'm a little worried if I get promoted, though. I'll have to build a new staff because this is just the regimental staff. So I'd like to be 200 to 300, probably closer to 300 prestige clear before we actually get promoted. So I think it might make sense just to stick it out as a lieutenant colonel for a little bit longer and maybe fight one more battle as a regimental. We're still in winter quarters. We're almost back from leave. So our boys had a nice little Christmas back in Wisconsin. A nice little leave of about 2 months. I'm sure the rest of the army absolutely hates them. Like, why the fuck did you guys get to go home? But we're going to be one of the more robust regiments at that rate by the end of winter. All right, so it's February 4th. Let's wait till the 7th or so, and then we'll double check it again. But yeah, our regiment's going to punch whenever we get to fight. Ammunition's still very low. It's slightly better. It's up to like 57% rifle. The artillery ammo is in terrible shape. All right, so the 2nd Wisconsin is back. We've returned to the line. We more than doubled the number of men in our line, in our regiment, from 210 plus 70 or so in disabled. We've reduced that disabled count from 70 to 40, and we've increased the ready troops by about 350 to 560 men. 560 men might make us the strongest regiment in Shank's division. No, it won't. No, it won't. 105th New York, 900 men. Almost smaller, or we're a little bit larger than the 14th Maryland with 522. The 107th New York has 992. These guys got to be fresh recruits. Yeah, just recruited. 3-year recruits, 1 month into their tour. We might be the largest regiment second largest regiment. Philip St. George Cook is larger at 624 men. These boys were only 1-year troops. They've only got 8 months left. But in Quinby's brigade, the 3rd Brigade, Isaac Quinby, that's the brigade we're serving in. We also have Springfield rifle muskets, which we were able to upgrade to because we had such such a small unit, and now we have more troops, but we have the same weapons. So these are very good rifled muskets, good range of 400 yards. Mediocre accuracy compared to some of the other like specialty weapons, but in terms of like field grade weapons, probably the best that we will have a chance to have for a good long while. I'm going to turn off auto manage weapon purchases. I'm assuming that's just for our regiment because I don't command the other one, but I don't know exactly how that works. Like, I hope it doesn't stop purchases for other units in the game. I don't know if the menu's like, hey, you can't do that for anybody else, but sure, you can do that for you. I know some people had commented in a previous video like, why is it turned on? It's like, well, I would want them to manage it for all my non-units. Wonder if we'll ever like switch to a core format. We're still in division. Historically, the core organization hadn't taken hold quite yet by February anyway. And there's a tech you have to research in order to get it. But we should be coming up to the end of the winter season. You can see we've got bad weather, but it looks like our ammunition situation's been improved quite a bit. We're up to, well, artillery ammo is at full. Rifle ammo is still only at 30%. I don't know why. Well, maybe this is just our regiment. I don't know why our regiment would have artillery ammo. Maybe that's why it's at 100%, because we don't. That's the neat thing, you don't. Still snow and bad weather end of February-ish. But we'll see when Shank starts moving us. Is McDowell still in command of this army? He is. Someone replace him. We got 43,000 men in the Army of Northeastern Virginia, although we're all dispersed to Kingdom Come. All right, so those troops had been defeated south of the James, are withdrawing northwest, it looks like. I don't know where the Rebs are. We got some... I mean, the troops behind us, like, was it Culpeper or whatever, are just hanging out there. McDowell's headquarters is in the valley. The 2nd Division there is there with 14,000. The 1st Division with 10,000. Although some of those are for the Department of Pennsylvania. There's 24,000 troops at the Department of Pennsylvania in the valley. Several enemy corps. Although these are very small corps in West Virginia. We're still in this little enclave, this little pocket in here. Shank's division's ammunition situation, we're up to 70% of rifle ammo, but only 6% artillery. Improved self-esteem. You have a bad tendency to feel uncertain of yourself, especially in the company of other officers. Good thing you have a friend in the form of a conforming staff officer who always finds a way to boost your self-esteem. This isn't new, though. We had this before, didn't we? How's that any different? Campaigning season. The winter is over. Weather and temperatures no longer hamper large-scale military operations and logistics. Troops are disassembling the winter quarters and preparing for action, as traditionally spring sees the start of the campaigning season. As large-scale operations will most likely soon kick off, it's advisable to make sure you and your men are as prepared as you can be, and enemy movements are observed with care. Well, I don't get to campaign. I just have to kind of go where I'm sent, but we're into March now. Funding Policy 1 enacted. So, more money to the military. Military Policy 2. All right, so we are into campaigning season. It is March 3rd now. I'm getting pretty close to being promoted. Just because I've been a lieutenant colonel for a long time, I guess. We can spend 310 prestige and get promoted now, and we'd have 280 left. But again, I'm kind of inclined, like, we're this close. Maybe we just wait till May or June and get promoted naturally, and then I save all that prestige. How much weight did I gain over the winter? We're at 200 or 179 pounds. Our health has dropped a bit since we reduced our rations. Let's increase that back. The weather's not helping. It's still going down because of the weather, I guess. Our money situation is somewhat stable. It's gone up a couple dollars. I wonder what happens if you can't afford to replace your horse if it gets killed. Like, is there any impact to not having a horse? Does it hurt the morale of your troops? I mean, your troops have to march on foot anyway, so in theory the officer could walk. But it just seems strange. Anyway, we're still in winter quarters. It's first week of March. Weather looks like it's warming up a bit. We've got no more indication of snow. You know, the ground is no longer white. It might take a little while for temperatures to come up. Looks like it's above freezing, but still in the 30s. Still could lead to negative impacts in campaigning season. Our troops are still not fully supplied. How's our regiment? Early March. Shank's division is up to 7,000. It had been down below 5 at one point. Our regiment's still hanging in there. Actually, more disabled troops have returned to service, so we're getting close to 600 effectives. So we're ready, boys. Battle fought near Elkhorn Tavern in the Trans-Mississippi Theater. Union is victorious. So I think all the historical battles occur off map, so like Donaldson and other things like that, maybe. Although that would have been in February, and we didn't see any indication of that. So I don't know if maybe the game simulates off-map battles. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not really sure. What's that? What weapons? Okay, so some field artillery. That doesn't help me at all, but okay. It'll be interesting to see if the AI starts aggressively campaigning in the spring. It's, again, weather's still getting a little better. It's still in the 30s. I did see some complaints originally with this when it first came out, that after the initial set of battles in 61, the AI didn't really do much. I guess we'll see if that's true here soon. I mean, some troops are, although that guy's recovered, not. All right, well, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We'll fast forward this till, like, whenever the armies start moving. They're still in winter camps, at least for our units. So there is, by the way, it is now April 6th. There is a battle ongoing at Harper's Ferry. So the AI is still fighting. It looks like maybe the Confederates are trying to clear the valley of Union troops. I don't know if anything's going to happen with our troops down here since we took Richmond. Maybe we're just going to try and continue holding Richmond while fighting occurs elsewhere. I'm not really sure. But we are still sitting here. We haven't done anything. We are no longer in winter quarters. Our health is getting better because the weather is better. Still says bad, but it's better than it was. I'd hate to abandon our troops here. We've got a nice little regiment now. I don't know if recruiting new troops influences the experience of the unit at all. Doesn't say anything about going into quarters or going back on leave, so that's interesting. But we've got over 600 regular troops now, so we're still drawing some reinforcements while we sit here. And yours truly, our rank is getting somewhat close. We're at 82% of the way there. We could buy promotion for 220 prestige. That starts to feel worth it, especially since we'll probably still stay a regimental for a little while. So maybe we do try and promote ourselves. But let's wait till the end of April and see if our troops start moving at all, because, again, we're no longer in quarters. The weather's still not great. It's in the 40s. But maybe we'll start campaigning in May. The Union loses at Harper's Ferry. You'd think maybe they tried to pull some troops up from the Richmond area because we're just sitting here. We did see the Emancipation Proclamation apparently in April. Another disaster at Harper's Ferry. So it looks like the Union's been kicked out of the valley. But we're still sitting down here. A lot of movements of troops up north. But again, we're just sitting down here in the south. So it's like we're in the wrong unit. If we were in the Department of Pennsylvania, then maybe we'd be doing something. There's a lot of fighting going on in the valley. A lot of units moving around. Not so much down by Richmond. You would think the rebels would launch some sort of counterattack to retake Richmond. And I guess that's what we're waiting for. But now we've taken most of the valley after the victory at Grafton. Still a bunch of reports of troops out west in Virginia. I don't know if there's any troops in DC. But nothing happening here in the south. So let's do something. Come on, AI, come for me or something. More battles in West Virginia. A lot of action out here in West Virginia. A lot of battles going on. West Virginia has seceded from the Confederacy, I guess. But again, no push as far as I can tell to liberate Richmond. Which is a little frustrating. Our forces, like, let's go battle some freaking Rebs. Let's go fight the army of South Carolina. Let's go fight the army of Piedmont. Let's go whip them. We go into the strategy window here. We can see both sides have won about the same number of battles. Confederate morale is not good. I don't know why ours is NAN. National support's also not good. We captured Richmond. We haven't done any of these other objectives. A lot of rebel units are technically in Northern Territory, but I think that's just because they're in West Virginia, which we now consider ours. I'm not seeing any action. I keep getting these pop-ups saying, not seeming like a lot of action occurring. Maybe I should try for a command somewhere else. But I'd hate to abandon the regiment I built up. They're pushing way south in the valley. The war in the valley has gone our way by the looks of it. Looks like the Rebs have been ejected from the valley. Meanwhile, still a lot of fighting going on in West Virginia. But this war might be over. I don't know that the Rebs have the strength to oppose us at this point. Our division keeps getting stronger. We're up to 8,500 men. I see no indication of a rebel counterattack coming. They seem completely content to just sit back. Although there are troops in Northern Virginia here. Like 40,000 Rebs, possibly. To the east of the valley. They don't seem to be trying to push toward Washington, though. I feel like I'm that meme right now, poking, you know, poking the Confederates with a stick, saying, "Do something." Also, supply situation not great. 19 units that are in supply alerts. So this may be a very uneventful video, guys. Sorry if that's the case. Oh, our prestige just went way up. How did we get 1,600? Did we get promoted? 2,100. West Virginia, West Virginia, West Virginia. What does that have to do with me? Why do I get prestige for West Virginia? All right, well, I'm about to be promoted. But I don't know why I got all this prestige for West Virginia. What does that have to do with anything? Is it just all the Union officers get credit for it? Hey, my weight's gone up to 186. Soon I'm going to be like Winfield Hancock. Or not Winfield Hancock, Winfield Scott, dear God. Hancock was a little string bean, relatively. At least till later. Later in the war he got pretty hefty, I believe. He also was wounded and sitting around doing nothing for a long time. Congratulations, you've now been promoted to colonel. You can now apply for the following commands of units. Regiment, brigade, division. A division commander as a colonel? That seems... I guess technically my dad was a division commander. Granted, it was a training division, but... And he was a full bird. Are we going to fight a battle? Holy Jesus, we're moving. We're moving. Oh, it's a siege. We only 5,200 men? What's going on here? Why is Schenk's division doing this by himself? Also, I thought Schenk had 8,000 men. Where are the other guys? Where are the other boys? Where are the boys? We just got to wait a little bit longer. Maybe more troops will come up. Be part of this siege. Why are all the battle sieges now? Pause, pause, pause. Fuck. Alright. So, siege is underway. And I want to do something. We've got 13,000 men. The Rebs have 2,000 or 12,000. So we should probably fight this battle, right? So we've advanced. Yours truly. I've got 2,100 prestige for some ungodly reason. No idea why. I now almost have a full star of fame. I'm a colonel. Although by being promoted, it looks like I lost a little bit of experience, maybe? But I was promoted naturally. Promotion is not possible. Not enough prestige to influence promotion. I do have 2,100 prestige. In any event. I'm a full colonel. Within Schenk's command, I could ask for a brigade. If I can get to the screen. Every time I click on any division, it just pulls me into the siege. I don't want to do that. Don't do that. Oh, there's a battle for Richmond going on too? So the Rebs have 23,000 men fighting in the Battle of Richmond against 21,000 of Colonel Dixon Miles. So they're attacking Richmond while we are pushing north to drive the Rebs off our supply line. We finally got some action, boys. I don't know that I'm going to be able to complete this battle in this particular turn. Can I do anything here? Okay, so manage army. What can we do? Oh, I can't apply for command because we're currently engaged in a battle. But I can apply for a brigade at the rank of colonel. I think when certain level army reforms get carried out, though, you have to be a brigadier for a division. Like, I think that changes at some point. Well, I guess I have to fight with these boys as is. We've got 700 men now, though, so we got a nice little hefty regiment. Hefty, hefty, hefty. All right, let's go fight. Let's assault the enemy. Roughly even numbers. They've got a little bit more when you include the cavalry. Oh, actually, no. We've got 1,600 more infantry. 1,400 more infantry than them. They've got 1,400 more cavalry than us, so it's about even. We've got double the guns they have. So let's go ahead and fight. All right. Our scouts report the enemy is near Hanover Junction, and our army prepares for battle. We're facing the Army of South Carolina under the command of Gideon Pillow, with strength of 14,000 men. The enemy army is green and morale is reported to be determined. Reports indicate their supply situation is outstanding. The supply situation of our army is outstanding. Second Division, they're determined, we're confident. Do we have an experience level? Fighting spirit for them is higher than us. Our training is much better, almost double. And intelligence gathering is better on their part. I don't see any indication of experience. I guess if I go into, oh, here. So in theory, we've got 2 stars. They've got 1. First Division only has 1 star? Really? 3rd Brigade, Quinby, that's us. 14 fame. We got the best administration in the damn army. 2nd Wisconsin. I don't know why it says there's a New York unit here, but okay. All right, where are we coming on the map here? Proud Run is up here. Our boys are coming on down here. I don't think I've ever fought on whatever battlefield this is. Hanover Junction. Okay. Get rid of the headquarters there. We are to attack the enemy, which seems to be what we always do. Second Division is on the left. First Division is on the right, I'm assuming. Second Wisconsin's right here, boys. We only go in with 40 rounds of ammo, which is a little frustrating. We got pretty nice loss resistance here. We recruited a bunch of recruits, but I guess that 200 cadre of veterans probably keeps us a pretty decent unit, although it's only 1 star of experience, so we're still considered inexperienced when you compare us to like the 79th New York, which has 3 stars. Colonel Dudley Donnelly. I can use 82 prestige and take his regiment over. Maybe I should just take the brigade. Can I take the whole brigade from Quinby? He'll hate me for it, but I could. I could take the whole brigade's organization over. But it will piss him off. And he is my brigadier. It isn't too expensive, though. He's got 2,300 troops. Granted, about a third of those are mine in 3 brigades. It looks like he also has a battery of artillery assigned to him. We would get Cook's regiment of Greenhorns, I guess. They don't have, like, any stars. Cameron's regiment. So 3 of the regiments have rifle muskets. 1 of them has smoothbores. A battery of 4 20-pound or 30-pound parrots. Those are big-ass field guns. Move over, Quinby. I command this brigade now. Yep, it's only 170 prestige, and we'll get a whole brigade. This brigade is mine now, suckers. We should be able to get at least 170 prestige, right? I don't know what my orders are yet. We'll see. I don't think we're going to fight this whole battle in this video, though, guys. But we'll see. Our job is to attack the enemy. My brigade is ordered to attack. Proud Run. Move your regiment to the stated position and support the attack. Well, Quinby, I command you. And apparently you don't hate me yet. Matching attitudes. Maybe that's just because the battle hasn't ended yet. All right, so the brigade is ordered to attack Proud Run. I don't know how far south the Rebs are going to deploy, but we will move. I don't want to move through this wooded terrain. I'd rather go up this gap. I'm assuming that's where the bulk of the Union Army will go, though. So let's do this. Let's deploy these troops here on this fence line. And again, I get to command the whole brigade now. So we're going to go in marching columns and then deploy here. So we should move up this roadway here on the right. And then we'll see what to do when we get closer to the actual objective. So we command 1 brigade in the 1st Division. We command about a quarter of the whole division. Looks like there's 3 brigades, 4 brigades under Schenck. And let's get moving. So we're going to go times 20 speed. So our boys can hopefully start moving. Order delay. Come on, boys, go. Could I take over the whole division? I could. It would cost a lot of prestige. I'm not going to do that. It's our first chance to fight as a brigade. We're going to do that. Are you not moving anymore? You not? I think you just took the orders to get into movement column and then you didn't actually move. I love that to move the brigade. There's a courier that goes from, I think, the 2nd Wisconsin back to the brigade commander to tell him what he wants him to do. And then they start moving out. Why is the 2nd Wisconsin not moving? Do I have to still issue orders to them separately? Strange, but it looks like I do. In any event, let's get the boys moving. Times 20 speed. On the march, lads. We're about to hit a traffic jam with the rest of the division. And that will hurt our cohesion and things will slow up considerably, but we're on the move. We're moving up this way. The rest of the division looks like it's going straight in for the objective. But I have a hunch we're going to run into the rebels south of that objective and things will change. So I'd rather deploy short. We can adjust as need be. Again, with 2,000 prestige and a big chunk of that being free, I feel a little bit more comfortable in spending prestige for more than just a single unit. All right, we're moving up the roadway, taking our dear sweet time, getting disrupted. Actually, the 2nd Wisconsin is... Are we going cross lots? We're just going right across that field? Oh, shit. Okay. Enemy units are spotted in our area of operations. Get on this fence, 2nd Wisconsin. Pause. Quinby. Deploy the rest of the brigade back here. And let's do ×2. So, like I said, the enemy, I didn't think we'd get to the objectives we originally were assigned. It doesn't look like we will, and we'll deploy our brigade on the left flank, presumably, of where the division will form up. Looks like a bunch of regiments are deploying to the right. Try and leverage this fence. Granted, there is some high ground. There's some hills over here, which the topographical map will show us. So that might be a little bit of a challenge. Maybe we'll deploy the 2nd Wisconsin in here to the left on the fence line. It's kind of an L-shaped line. Our boys are cut off, apparently. I don't know why it says that, but... I think the enemy might get to that fence line before we do. We may want to deploy into the woods. Or on this railroad track. Let's do that. Let's deploy in these woods. Shy of the objective once more. Someone's shooting at someone. Looks like there's the 3rd Connecticut is engaging with the 28th South Carolina. They're outnumbered 2-1, but they're in the zone. Second Wisconsin's going to deploy in this wood. Switch over into a single line and deploy back behind the 1st Wisconsin. 1st Wisconsin, buy time for the rest of the brigade to come up and deploy. Colonel, your regiment is engaged. Engage at will. 8th Alabama. There you go, boys. Pour it into them. You deploy. We're just going to start issuing orders to these units one at a time. So 13th New York deploy to the left of the Wisconsin. Adolf, you're not. Why those regiments aren't moving. I issued orders for them to move. 8th Alabama is about our size. We've got cover, they don't. They're in the open, we're in woods, so that should go a long way. Also, we've got rifled muskets. No idea if they do or not, but yours truly is doing his damnedest to hold up the honor of the entire brigade. Also, effectively securing the left flank of the rest of the division, which is over here on the right. Granted, it's only one enemy regiment, so the likelihood of them being able to do too much to our flank is not high. It looks like we are doing much worse to them than they to us. 2nd Wisconsin holding in position here. 2 more regiments are coming up. The 8th Alabama is going to get routed for sure. I just don't see them being able to hold out against effectively 3 regiments, and they're already starting to pull back. 11th Maryland came up here and really hit him hard in the flank. He's routing now. Or, I think they're routing. Might just be retreating. 35 points for casualties inflicted. We don't get the 25 for the rout, but we do drive that flanking regiment back. Quinby, you're gonna go ahead and deploy the brigade on this fence like we had originally said you were going to. I guess I gotta issue orders to the 2nd Wisconsin also. But only 6 casualties taken by the 2nd Wisconsin. It's amazing what a little bit of experience and a rifled musket does for you. We'll keep playing at ×2 speed. Looks like more rebel regiments might be coming down the road here on the left. The 2nd Division is moving up along toward Burton. There is it looks like a bridge here. They may engage a chunk of the rebel army there. Enemy casualties 250 to 92, and a big chunk of that is the regiment we shot to pieces. Meanwhile, my other troops are moving up damn slow. Quinby is... I'm not thrilled with his performance so far. His performance under me. I'm not thrilled with how you are doing with my command that I've given you. Or whatever. Anyway, I think I'm going to come up on the flank of this this other rebel regiment here, 900 men. I'd like to see if we can come up to support the 2nd Maryland. If I can get into them, I'm not too worried about it being possibly outside of support. Oh, 2nd Wisconsin just fired a volley into them at extreme range. Looks like the Maryland boys are pulling back. Meanwhile, we're on a fence line. We should probably just be fine with where we're at. But that's extreme range. We don't have enough ammo to just waste. We've already used a quarter of our ammo. We've seen how those battles go with reinforcements not really coming along. So, 2nd Maryland is pulling back, hopefully not routing. 30th South Carolina is hanging in there. So we're going to move these 3 regiments forward. See if we can't deal a blow. New York is in decent range. We'll keep pushing forward here. Volley into the Rebs here. This one is less the 2nd Wisconsin. We did get 1 volley into him. Remember, we spent like 170 prestige, I think it was, to take over the brigade from Quinby, so... The Rebs are really getting caught in this battle not very effectively. Our troops have come up concentrated in 2 separate wings, 1 for each division. Meanwhile, the Rebs have like half their force back here at Perkins by the looks of it. They're deploying individual regiments against the 1 division on the right flank or left flank, and individual regiments against the other division on the left flank. This bodes ill for the enemy in this battle. But 30th South Carolina driven back also. Enemy casualties are very high in this fight. 3rd U.S. Artillery is in action. 7th New York will guard the left flank. Let's get Quinby up here a bit. You should be following the bulk of your troops. 49th Georgia also driven back. Alright, we broke the enemy on the right flank. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in this battle. We're going to deploy our troops into this wood line on the right to try and flank the enemy dug-in positions here up along the river, while the 2nd Division pushes from the left. Alright, let's use up some ammo. Let's hit some of these enemy troops. Hopefully we don't get hit by enemy arty. Meanwhile, my troops are moving up there. I don't know if we're using solid shot. I don't see explosions. Maybe you're shooting over here. I'm not really sure where. Our skirmishers are closing in on Proud Run. I wonder if they can take it all by themselves. They may not have enough manpower to do that. We're getting a few prestige from casualties inflicted here. I could move my regiment, Matthew McCormick's regiment, up here on this objective. Are we taking the objective or not? It looks like we are slowly taking it. Very slowly. But you can see the circle of red indicates possession, and it looks like some of these arrows are getting shrunk down. So whatever lieutenant we sent up there with 70 men, gonna be a hero today. We'll see if the Rebs respond. Some more artillery for the division. It looks like one of the brigades is repositioning a little bit closer to us. The artillery has not taken a casualty yet. They are under enemy bombardment, but they've inflicted some losses on the enemy. Again, we've got an elevation advantage. If the enemy shoots like 15 guns at us, that may not matter, but if the enemy shoots, you know, roughly equal numbers, we got some plunging fire going on down here, shooting down on these troops. The few that we can see anyway. You know, we don't have the best line of sight because of that wood line. It's going to take a long time to take that objective with 70 men. We're trying to fight this battle more intelligently. We're a colonel now. We're big shit, right? So we'll fight this thing slowly. Meanwhile, prestige, we spent what, 170 to take the brigade? We've already gained 112 back. This battle's going much better. Granted, it still is sort of inching toward a defeat, but that may change if we take this objective, which we're now about halfway to taking with the 70 skirmishers. Mostly just skirmishing going on. We hear a lot of musketry off to the left, but there's the 8th New York Artillery Battery. Then there's Balk's detachment, Tuttle's detachment, and then the 1st Rhode Island Artillery engaging the 69th Virginia at pretty close range. I gotta imagine we're kicking up some canister into these guys, or maybe like that's point blank artillery fire. I don't even know what the range is there, but that is close. It says the enemy's under some cover. I don't know under what cover, but alright, so they routed one of our skirmishers. It looks like they're shooting shell. I don't know why at that range. Maybe because the enemy's laying down. Those batteries are going to be in trouble without up infantry support, though. Alright, they did deploy some more skirmishers forward. Oh, the division's moving forward. On the left. Proud Run, the other boys are moving forward also. So we're kind of pinning the bulk of the rebel troops here. Meanwhile, there's like a brigade of troops over here. 800, 900, that's 1700. 2,500 troops are on the left bank of this creek or river or whatever it is. Casualties still 4-1 almost in our favor. But the enemy's got better morale. They've held the objectives for longer. Once we take Proud Run, though, which that, you can see that they're down to the last arrow here. We'll see if that changes things. Also, if they rout these 3 regiments over here, hopefully effectively and without too much loss, we should be able to hem them in on 3 sides. They got artillery deployed. Oh, these guys are routed. Never mind. Oh, losing units is not going to help. Come on, boys. Don't be dumb. It's almost the end of this battle, though. Or the first day. My own troops. We had a nice little fight early on. Not so much since. We should take this before nightfall, I believe. Alright, well, we're coming to the close of this particular day, and we will wrap this video up here. We're almost at an hour, so division on the left flank is pushing our own troops to position themselves on the right, and we've moved some skirmishers to begin taking the objective in the north. We'll see how that all plays out in the next video. Until the next video, however, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.